are here. Welcome to the next episode of Breathe. This is Lai. I'm Monica Schuster and I'm really happy you are here. This podcast is about you, about me, about life, and about reminding you who you really are. A little break from the hectic everyday to feel, to breathe, and to just be. And maybe also to see things from a new and from a different perspective. Last time we talked about how setting boundaries brings you back to yourself. Today we are going even a layer deeper. Because sometimes, even when we know our boundaries, or in any other situations, there is one emotion that shows up and questions everything. Fear. The big topic, fear. And fear often makes us to do the opposite of what we truly want. Maybe you know this feeling. You're about to do something important, to make a clear decision, to show yourself as you really are, to express your truth. And then suddenly it is there, like a wall, like a ghost. Fear. It makes you shrink. It makes you turn around. It steals your courage. And for many, many years, fear was my companion. Sometimes day in and day out. Yes. Also because my mother, in a way, fear was her best friend. It really was and sometimes is her best friend. But that's not the topic here. The topic parents needs a different episode. So always one of my friends used to say, parents are not normal people. Yeah, but anyhow, back to the main story. For me, everything shifted when I was standing at two crossroads in my life. The first one was my divorce, where I had to face my emotions like an opponent. And the second was my illness, because it brought up so many fears. But today I can often see fear differently. Sometimes as a mirror, sometimes as a walking stick, a protector, a pause button, a compass. And I know now that fear is often, not always, but often here to protect us, not especially those fears that shows up like a ghost. Boom, here I am. All of a sudden, boom, here I am. And of course, they are often rooted in childhood, or even inherited from our parents, from our grandparents, from our ancestors. But the good news is they can be healed inside of us. And in the past, I pushed fear. Oh my God, I tried to push fear far away. I didn't want it nearby me. But the more, of course, I pushed it away, the bigger it got. I became insecure, withdrawn into my snail shell and watched the world only from a distance. I really thought for a very long time, if I ignore it, it will disappear. Today I can smile at the little Monica and can say, it won't hurt you. Trust me. But what I didn't understand back then, that fear is only the mirror of something that wants to transform. Behind fear is always something that wants to be seen, or something that doesn't even belong to us. My turning point came when I realized fear is not my enemy. It can be my friend, and it shows me where I still need healing, compassion, or understanding. Let me take you to Hawaii, 2021. It was my very first trip by myself. My birthday had just passed. Friends, it's Romia, the most beautiful Hawaiian-themed party. And then I flew from Florida to the Big Island, and a few days later to Maui. And on my very first day in Maui, fear came to visit me. Fear in action. So I had booked a camping spot through HipCamp, and HipCamp is a app. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's an app where you can book or where you can rent a camping spot on private land instead of campgrounds, which are the most of them were amazingly cool. So I was in Hawaii, I had my car, I had my backpack, and I were traveling 3 weeks through Hawaii, and I loved it. So anyhow, I had my first spot on a property which was the paradise. It was on top of the mountains on Maui, and yeah, it was a huge property, a beautiful garden, a paradise garden with surrounded by fruit trees and palms and bananas and beautiful colorful flowers, a nice house. It was wow. It was amazing. It really felt like paradise, a peaceful paradise campground. Amazing. The host, a quiet gentleman in his 70s, welcomed me warmly and said, "You are the only guest tonight. Camp wherever you like. It's all yours." And I was like, wow, I felt so blessed in this. Oh my God, it was, yeah, unbelievable, beautiful, and unbelievable. My entire being opened up, and I choose the spot kind of a little bit secured in the corner, but were able to observe the entire property. And while I was setting up my tent, he stopped by and said, "Would you like to see a special waterfall?" And I said, "Of course, always, of course. That's why I'm here." "Okay," he said, "let me finish my work and then I come by and we go there." Perfect. Well, at the same moment, the ghost was there. Fear kicked in. And I could hear my mom's voice. "Are you crazy? You can't just go with a man you didn't know. He might hurt you. He might kill you." And my heart felt safe, wanted adventure. My mind screamed danger. So, short after that, I was in his truck and my mind was spinning. So I asked him this stupid question, which didn't make sense, but my mind needed to ask him that. "Are you married?" "No, I'm divorced." And my mind said, "Of course, because he probably killed his wife, right?" I said, "Well, yeah, let's keep asking. And do you have kids?" "Yeah, but my both sons live somewhere else." "Of course, because he's dangerous. He is a killer, right?" And I said, "Okay. Where are you from? Are you originally from Hawaii?" "No, I'm originally from Australia." "Yeah, probably because he has to escape, because he's a killer, right?" Oh, so my mind made him within seconds into a killer. He was a killer. There was no room for discussion. He is a killer. Period. So finally, we arrived at the parking lot at the Twin Waterfalls. Oh, many people around us, and my system felt so relieved. Oh, finally. Good. Everything is fine. Mind, please stop. You see, a lot of people. Good. But then, of course, he took me on a private path, and my fear screamed again. "Now he will kill you. I'm sure he will kill you. He is a killer." Well, long story short, we reached the most breathtaking waterfall. Amazingly, absolutely stunning. I was like, my mind, everything was quiet for a moment. Wow. And again, my host was the entire time, he was just walking in front of me. No sign of killer, no sign of nothing, because it was only in my system. Only my mind brought it up because I was used to have those feelings because of my mother, which means for me in my own story, there was no root for this fear. It just popped up like a ghost. Boom, here I am. And I want to pause here for a moment. Just for the record, I do not want you to do the same thing I did. Absolutely. Neither the same thing, similar things, something else. Always do what you think is the best for you. This was only my own story and my own adventure, but nothing you should copy or repeat. Let's go back on my story. So I remember when I saw this beautiful waterfall, I whispered to my mind, please, can we please start trusting my feelings from now on just a little bit tiny more? And the mind agreed for the moment. Because on the way back, he showed me another hidden gem. And when we stopped at the dead end road and he said, I want to show you another thing. Ta-da! Ta-da! Here was a ghost again. And my mind kicked in again and said, now he will kill us. Now he will kill us. He haven't killed us before, but now is the time. And what happened? He showed me a beautiful cliff with a panoramic view over the entire shoreline. Again, speechless, unforgettable, beautiful moments. No word. We just stand there both and just watch this scenery. I still have this picture in my mind because it was so beautiful, amazing. And when we returned home later, he came to me and brought me a plate of ripe fruits from his garden and said, well, at least you saw a little bit of the beautiful Maui on your first day. And I remember when I told him, you have no idea how intense that day was for me. And I heard my mind a little bit laughing inside of me because that day we both, me, my entire me and my mind learned something. Fear can protect us. Yes, but if you always listen only to your fear, you may close so many doors to miracles. And fear can be many things. Sometimes it's your inner child just longing for a hug. Sometimes it's a phrase or a story you have carried for years. Sometimes it's inherited from your parents. Sometimes it's real, of a memory, of an experience which you went through in your life. Even if it's a memory, an experience where we went through in our own life, if we pause and if we allow us to go in our quiet spot in our heart and allow the fear to show up in front of you, maybe from a distance. It can be a little bit further away, but allow yourself to let the fear become a form and put the picture on pause that the fear can't move, but you can. And keep walking around the fear and look how the fear is looking behind it. On the other side, on the sideways, above, underneath. Just explore the fear. Because sometimes the fear on the other side, on the back side, maybe there is something positive. Or maybe there is your inner child who just wants to be loved. Fear can be real, for sure, but fear is an emotion. We decide how we treat the emotion. We decide if the emotion is positive or negative. So invite yourself to meet the fear and ask the fear, what do you want? What do you want and where you are coming from and how can I help you? Because a fear can be a wonderful walking stick. Not in front of you, but next to you, with you, to just give you little hints. Maybe show up here and there as a ghost, but as a tiny little ghost and say, hey, just want to remind you, I'm here just as a reminder. Not to give other people without knowing them the declaration of killer. Yeah, like in my case. I didn't know that person. I had his review and it was amazing. But my mind made him into a killer without knowing, just because my ancestors had the fear. But my heart was trusting the spot, was trusting the land, was trusting the process. Because it felt so easy, it felt so natural, it felt so welcoming. And fear always invites us to pause and reflect and ask you, where am I right now? Am I still on my path? Or have I drifted away? And if we ask our fear, where are you coming from? What do you want to tell us? We may see some memories from our lives and reflect them. Are you in the same situation like back then? Then yes, fear is an amazing partner to have on your side because it reminds you, hello, I don't think we shall do that again. Or maybe fear can tell you, wait a minute, I'm big. Yes, I'm huge. But actually I'm not yours. Then you can show fear the direction to that person, maybe your ancestors, where it belongs to. Because it doesn't have your name tag on, as I used to say. Before we go now into the reflection questions, you may have already a picture in your mind from a moment when the fear kicked in. Take that moment and feel your being and breathe into it. Fear does one thing at first. It pushes the ground away from you. So make sure you feel your feet and imagine the trustful ground beneath you. This already takes some power away from fear. Then next thing is, let roots grow from your feet down into the earth. Feel the stability, the support, the connection. This is your second tool against fear. As more and as deeper you can imagine and feel your roots go into the earth, as less fear can push you over. And finally, follow your deep breath inside into your stomach and out again. Feel how each breath connects you even more to the ground, strengthens you, and helps you meet fear with calm and clarity. Every time when you have fear, when you feel fear kicks you over, go into those 3 steps. Feel each step on the most intense version. Feel the ground underneath you. Feel your roots and follow your breath. Okay, so let's go in the reflection question. So if you want to reflect your life, or maybe you have already a picture in your head, where in your life does fear keep showing up? And what might it want to tell you? And if you would give your fear a voice today, what would it say? Or how would it look like? And just put on pause and imagine the fear standing in front of you. Just walk around. See the fear from each angle. And especially see how the fear looks behind it. Maybe it's not as big anymore as from the front side. And what would happen if you stopped seeing fear as an enemy, but maybe as a guide? And maybe you want to give fear a new job position. Just say, hey, listen, I don't need you for that anymore. Rewrite the script, but I would like you to remind me every time when this or that comes up. To give fear a job. To give her a meaning. Because that is also then when your mind can start trusting your fear, because it has a new job. It's not who, I don't know if it's a ghost or if it's real. But if you give the fear a job, you can walk next to each other, step by step. And most important, you can respect each other. So When I think about my Hawaii trip, I trusted every single day, and part of it probably was because I was by myself. I remember when I decided every day new, today I want to do this and that. And I just did whatever comes on that specific day in my mind, without thinking I should do it tomorrow or switch events or whatever. No, I just did it, and I can say that afterwards it was always the right decision. I was on places where I was by myself, totally by myself. And on the way back, the people came, the crowded groups came in. I was on places where I was able to see the wild horses, all by myself. Nobody was there, just me and the wild horses. And when I went back to the parking lot, the people came. And it was perfect. I saw the sea turtle just on the perfect timing when nobody was in the water. When I walked out of the water, people came in. For me, it was an amazing process to be aware of myself, trust myself, and see the difference between trusting, being aware of your fear, and follow your fear. And I wish you that you can experience the same there, to let your system notice what is real and what can I really trust. Where can I really trust myself, and where should I trust myself, and where maybe should I trust my fear. So I hope this episode gave you courage, not to push fear away or to fight it, but to see it as a message, to see it as a friend. I hope this episode reminded you that you don't have to wait to be whole. You can start in the here and now, in this moment. Thank you for being here. I would be so happy if you subscribe this podcast or share it with someone who might need it right now. See you next time. See you next Sunday. And remember, you are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to be. Because if I can do it, you can do it as well. Breathe. This is Life, the podcast with Monica.